Well, hello everybody. Welcome to the live stream. Just give me a second, I need to take care of something. Okay. So today we're taking care of the save system in Astortion. I've actually done some work prior to the live stream because initially I wanted to do that on Tuesday, but I couldn't stream on Tuesday, but I still got some work done. So currently nothing works. As you can see, we are in the game right now. I can, for example, switch this terminal on and come up here and collect the little orb and then die. And you can see that the terminal went back to the, disabled state, but the orb is still collected. So that's a problem. There are also some save points, or checkpoints, excuse me. So I can like go here. There's a checkpoint in here, but you cannot see it. And then when I die, I'm gonna spawn back in here. You can see that it will also reset to the previous state from like the checkpoint. So now the terminal is gonna be on. So these things kind of work, but not really. So this is what we're gonna be doing today. We're gonna try to make it work correctly. Also, the camera movement is kind of weird. Should not, respawn in the center. Okay, so the gist of the saving system is really straightforward. We have a set of commands that we can execute. First, we have like reading to the disk and writing, reading from the disk and writing to the disk. And then the same for the in-memory state. So saving to memory and then loading from memory, reloading the scene and resetting the in-memory state. And now the cause of our issues is that there is no way for us to reset the in-memory state to what it should be at the beginning of the game, if that makes sense. So generally, the way the save system works, right, as in most cases, is that you have the state of the game, and then you have the in-memory save file, and then you have the on-drive save file, right? So the idea behind the in-memory save file is so that you can unload portions of the world and still have their information available to you. Right, so the world may not be loaded in its entirety. Let's say that this part of the world is not loaded, but the in-memory save file is gonna contain information about everything. The save file is not fragmented into, different sections of the world. It's just one continuous thing that's loaded at all time. So when the player, traverses from one location to the other, causes this portion of the world to load in, and then this other portion of the world to unload. What we can do is we can trigger a in-memory save so that the portion of the world that is unloaded is stored in our memory, right? This way, if the player decides to go back to this section, we can just load it back from memory and everything is fine. But all of this does not constitute saving. Right? Saving happens here on the hard drive or the SSD drive. This is where, the exact same data as the data in memory is stored, except it's not updated continuously. It's only updated when we actually want to save the game. So this is actual saving. So here, If we do this thing where we like travel to a different portion and then come back and then die, for example, we're just gonna reload the drive state of the game and not worry about whatever is in the memory. So any progression that we could have done here and that could have been stored in memory is gonna be lost, as it should be. Now this on itself is really simple to do, but the problem is with our world being stored in like a separate scene, right? Which is also loaded, and that's like a different thing. That's loaded, you know, at the beginning of the game. This is where all of the terrain data and stuff like that is stored about the level. And we don't really want to reload it every single time, right? When we want to reset to a certain state in memory, we shouldn't have to reload the entire world. So that's the cause of issues, which we need to fix. I wanted to say I love the new logo. Thank you so much. Yeah, I added it to the game temporarily. But it's probably, right now it's just here on the pause screen, right? But I don't think it's gonna be here. I think it's only gonna be in the main menu because it's a bit too much for the pause screen. Agreed, the UI looks great. Thanks so much. Yeah, I added some input hints as well since the last live stream here at the bottom. This is something that we tried to implement during the last live stream and I failed miserably, but now they are here and they actually work and they tell you what you're gonna do when you press the buttons. Like here it's cancel, but then here it's continue the game, stuff like that. Hi, hello. Welcome to the live stream. Okay. I'm so worried about the UI not being pixelated, but it actually looks amazing. Thanks, I think. I always knew it's gonna be good. I feel much more, how to put that, much more certain about it than any like pixelated logo, because especially since it's really difficult to get like a futuristic / modern vibe out of pixel art, because by the very definition it kind of looks old-timey. Good evening to you too. Welcome to the live stream. All right, so the save data currently is stored in this little struct here, which is a bit of a simpler version of a dynamic scene, which only stores resources, because that's what we're gonna be using for storing the data, right? So maybe if I can open my save file, this is how the save file looks like right now, right? So we have the player's position, we have the states of the terminals, which is enabled, which isn't, and then we have the collectibles. So the way it works is that in the collectible here, I register a save resource called collectible store. It has some custom type path and type name for reflection, because normally when you just use reflection, the type path is going to be generated based on the file, right? So in this specific case, it would be like gameplay : collectible : collectible store. And it's not really good for saving things because, you know, this is going to change. If I were to rename this file, for example, or maybe move it to a different module, the path would change and then you wouldn't be able to deserialize the save. But by specifying it like this is never gonna change, right? So here you can see that this path is being used, save : collectibles, and that corresponds to this resource. And it's always gonna be corresponding to this, no matter the name of this struct. Yeah, so we register it, and this makes it saved in this save file. And then we add some systems for loading. So during the unload, we remove all of the spawned entities, and then during the load, we spawn collectibles that has not been collected yet. So if they're not contained in this little resource, we're just not spawning them, so we cannot collect them. And that's pretty much it. And the rest works kind of similarly. The player and the trigger statuses. Although trigger statuses are kind of interesting, because here I have a dedicated plugin, store component plugin, and it just stores the entities that match a given filter, right? The components on entities that match the given filter. So we just store the trigger status for terminals. And here we also have a custom save path. And the way this plugin works is that it registers a custom save and load function for us that stores the entities using a thing called persistent ID. And this is, I guess, another thing that I implemented while I was gone. Persistent ID is generated by Blender processor based on the name inside of Blender, because in Blender names are unique IDs of the objects, so we can use them to uniquely identify something. This way, you know, the entity IDs used in here persist between playthroughs. Okay, so what we need to figure out now is the fact that if I go to my playtest Blender file, you can see that we have the save resource defined in here as well. And the reason behind it, if I can show you that, is because in our Blender file, we specify this little spawn point, right? So this is just a little empty object that defines where we want the player to spawn. And that's really handy for like playtesting the game when making the level, because I can just move it somewhere else. I'm like, okay, now I want the player to always respawn in here. And I can test whatever I'm currently building. And that's the crux of the issue, right? Hold on, where's the data? We can really easily reset the save state, right? By using reflection from world, which is basically like the default trait in Bevy, right? We can use it to reset the state, but the problem is that it's gonna reset this resource as well, and we don't want that. So we need to find a way to make it so that if our level already has this resource, we want to treat that value as the default value instead of resetting it to the default value. So that's what we're gonna be working on today. Because I need that, you know, it's on our to-do list. We need save system for the puzzles, because it's kind of, up until this point, I was able to cheat my way through this without having a save system by simply putting a checkpoint whenever the player can like edit something. So there would be a checkpoint in here next to the terminal. There would be a checkpoint in here next to a collectible, so that whenever you change the state of the game, it also saves your game, right? Or it pretends to save your game. So then when you die, you go back to the last place where you changed something. But it's not gonna work with puzzles, because there's a lot of things that you can do with puzzles, and we need a way to reset the state back for them to work. Okay, so let's start by making a custom system parameter. for saving, just so that we can have it all in one place. If I could type, I don't know how to name it. Something simple, maybe just save, maybe save state. And then we wanted to have access to an event, a writer. It's gonna be an event writer for the save event. And now what we can do, we can probably make this only public to the crate. I think that would be fun. Because this is gonna prevent us from using this event manually, which I'm currently doing, but I shouldn't be doing. This should be all handled by this. Okay, this is gonna be system param. I'm gonna implement some helper functions for this. So the first place where we're using this event is in the damage thingy. Not this one, the other one. Also not this one. It's not damage, it's dead. It's the dead state. Yeah, so instead of using the writer here, we're gonna just use the save state. Ooh, if I could access that, why isn't it public? Oh, we don't even need to make it specifically public to the crate, because we can just not export it. It's gonna be a bit nicer. Just gonna get rid of it and use the save state in here. Just like that. Okay, so that's save state, and now instead of doing this, we're gonna do save. What would be the name for that? Reload. Let's make it really specific. Reload last checkpoint. That's what we want to do, right? When we die. Oh, mutable reference to self. What's the matter here? Oh, writer. Okay, so this is gonna be reload last checkpoint. Collection is doing something as well, I think. Yeah. Collection, so this is the text when the Blender file changed and we need to reload it. So this is mostly for like hot reload, not really something that's gonna happen in the game too often. It's gonna be save state. Just call it save hot reload. Okay, and let's not import the event. Okay, what else is using this? It's a writer as well. Okay. Checkpoints. Okay. Save. Store save. Store checkpoint. Add checkpoint. Okay. Player is also doing something with the save event. Okay, respawn. So this, for now, this is supposed to reset the game entirely. So let's do that. Okay, and this is just for testing. So this is gonna be save dot. I want one to like perform saving. Let's call it add dev checkpoint. Because again, that's only for development. This is gonna be saved dot. That's gonna do the same thing that dying does, which is reload last checkpoint. Or not reload, load, I guess, right? What's the name? Or maybe not. Is it reload? Yeah, it is. I think load is a better name. Load last checkpoint. Yeah, so you can see that dying here has resetting commented out. And this probably causes a few of the issues. Okay, so is that all? Let's remove the unnecessary imports. Ooh, there's something else. Main. Oh yeah, that's the initialization. because we do need to trigger something at the beginning. Let's call it initialize, see where this takes us. Okay, is it similar to anything? Reload scene, read from disk, load from memory. Okay. Let's see if it compiles or if there's anything else we need to fix. Okay, so now let's say I toggle this terminal on, collect the little orb, and then die. Yeah, and now it correctly resets the state, but as you can see, I spawn up here. And I spawn up here because that's the origin of the world. So as my position is 0, 0. And that's because the data from the state is lost, from the Blender scene, excuse me, is lost. So what my guess is, what we need to do is we need to find a way to persist this authored state that we have in Blender and then account for it when we reset. And that should be it. That should make it work. So when we do reset memory, where is it? Yeah, when we do reset memory, we reset the world. And this uses reflection to reset all of the resources that are stored. So we need to, after this, we need to somehow apply the scene state from Blender, and this is going to be correctly reset then. At the same time, when we reload the scene here, this reloads the scene from Blender. We're gonna need to like update this representation, right? Update the scene state. So I guess that's really all we need to do. And let's see where it takes us. This is gonna be memory save, and this is gonna be the world save. So that's the data from Blender. Oh, that took a while. It's renaming this. Okay, we just need to find out where we want to update this. Hot reload should update this. Initialization should also update this, so we get the initial world state. And then reset game. Reset game doesn't have to update this technically. Yeah, so it is pretty clear. When do we reset memory? It's pretty clear that before loading the scene, we always need to reset the memory. Ooh, I know what we can do. Hold on. We can expand the data. To access this directly from the scene, assuming that the scene allows us to introspect that. If not, that's a bummer. No, they are public. Okay, that's awesome. It's gonna be really easy to do, I think. Okay, that's gonna be like the simplest way of doing it. Let's steal this, because it's gonna be pretty much the same thing. So resource and self.resources. We're also gonna need some of the config. So let's get a reference to the world as well. Okay, so we can get the type registry, and then we should also be able to get the config. Save resource config. Okay. So now we're gonna iterate over the resources of the scene and not this, because there is no self. We're constructing the self. Okay, gonna make a new resources array. Can probably do with capacity. Or can we? Why is it not recognizing it as correct code? Oh, it's because it's not equal. The capacity is probably gonna be config dot. Oh no, we cannot access it. Never mind. We can just make an empty array. Not a biggie. Probably mutable. Okay, we get the type info. We don't even need all of that. I'm not sure if this might be interesting to you, but the developer comments in the Braid Anniversary Edition. I'm gonna be honest with you. I haven't played Braid. None of the editions. I know like next to nothing about that game. There's an interesting chapter about the level design and the player's path. Maybe it will be useful for your game. See, question is, was it written by Jonathan Blow or somebody else? Yeah, okay. I'll look into that. Hey Jacob, I love your pixel art style. I'm really inspired by you to make my game. I love to see more videos about art. Well, but I know next to nothing about art. That's the problem. I don't know what I would make videos about, you know. But thank you for saying that. I appreciate it. I feel like there's a lot of good pixel artists on YouTube making art videos. Okay, we need the type ID, which we can get from the type info. So if our config is allowed type info dot type ID, we should be able to get it. Yeah. If we allow this type ID, we're gonna steal this resource for ourselves. I'm just gonna hope that I can copy dynamic reflection. Or clone, actually. That's probably gonna be a clone. Let's see if this makes sense. I don't think it does. Mismatch types. Evaluates the unit loop. Oh, okay. We need to return this type, actually. No, I'm still waiting for pixel art stream. I don't know if I would be able to do anything live. I mean, when it comes to like creating art and drawing. Okay, what is your issue? Expected vector boxed. We got vector without reference to boxed. Why is that? Also, what's this? Oh, because this can fail? I believe in you, man. Your art is so good. I don't know. I mean, thank you, but appreciate it. I haven't drawn anything in a while, actually. Maybe we should do like a little art live stream. I've been storing like a little collection of references from the internet for a while now that I want to sort of play around with and find like a proper art style for Astortion. Because I do have it in my head. I want it to be like a really monochromatic kind of thing with low contrast, but then also sparkles of some theme color, and then have each section of the world have a different theme color. That's kind of my vision for it. But we need to put this on a canvas. Okay, what do we want to happen? There's a resource without type info. That cannot happen because it's a deserialized scene. It wouldn't get deserialized if there is no... No, but I don't want to unwrap it. I'm too afraid of unwrapping things. Okay, let's just do if let OK is equal to type info. And then else. I'm just gonna continue. And maybe do a little warning, or maybe even error. And we don't need any of this. If you just do expect instead of unwrap, it's okay because Clippy doesn't complain anymore. Yeah, but it's not okay if the game closes when somebody plays it. What's the issue here? Mismatched types. Get represented type info. Oh, because it's an option. Okay. There we go. need to understand this. It's a box, so it's already a pointer. So what does it mean to have a reference to a box? I guess we can just dereference it, right? Cannot move out of a shared reference. How about first dereferencing the box and then cloning the box? The method clone exists for struct box dynamic reflect, but its trait bounds were not satisfied. Okay, can we not clone reflection at all? Because I don't know what having size has to do with it. Also, I don't know how Rust works, by the way. Just saying. If in case anybody is new here. I'm also new here. Oh yeah, I don't think they have like a cloned operation for this. Which is silly. Oh wait, because it's a trait. Hold on. It's a dynamic trait. Okay, I see. There was a clone value. Clones the value as a reflect trait object. When deriving reflect for a struct, tuple struct, or enum, the value is cloned via clone dynamic. Now, respectively, implementers of other reflect subtraits should use those subtraits respective clone dynamic methods. Ooh, okay. Nice catch. Thanks for this. So I should be able to just call it directly, right? Because there's probably the referencing. Clone value. And that's gonna give me a box, which is exactly what we need. Okay, that's awesome. And we don't even need type registry for that. Would you look at this? Then programming is scary. I'm glad I'm not responsible for the art. I couldn't handle doing that. To each their own, as they say. This is a really obscure thing that we're doing right now, by the way. I feel like usually working on a game is a bit simpler when you're working with gameplay. But here this whole reflection magic is kind of complex. Okay, it does compile from scene. So now we can create the scene data after loading the scene without applying it to the world, which is awesome. Because that's really straightforward. So are you learning Rust by making your game? I don't know about learning Rust. You know, I'm making a game in Rust without knowing Rust. If this ends up teaching me how to use Rust, that's awesome. But yeah, that is the situation. That is the case. I've been doing fine so far, to be honest. I feel like I should sit down and actually read the book eventually. Because I always tell myself, I always tell myself, I don't know why I have trouble speaking, that I should do that, and I never have the time to do that. Okay, now the plugin is gonna load the scene right in here. So now all we need to do is just, oh no, we don't have access to the task. Okay, so we can just return this as an option. Save data. It's gonna be none. And then here, there's gonna be some save data from scene, and the scene is gonna be the asset. Oh, and we have access to everything we need, I think. Almost. Oh, it's called asset. Okay. All right. And your issue is... Oh, I changed the name. Okay. Now, can I access this? World save is gonna be equal to data. That's awesome. And now resetting. We're gonna first do a reset. Maybe we can improve that as well. We're gonna first do a reset, and then after the reset, we're gonna do load. But instead of using save data, we're gonna need task dot world save dot load. So now when we reset the resources to their default value, but then we apply whatever resource values we have stored from the Blender file. And if I'm not mistaken, this is gonna work perfectly fine the first time, no questions asked. Okay, resetting the game works. Let's take a look at the save file. So now the save file is empty. Let's try modifying some values and then dying before we get to the checkpoint. See what's gonna happen. Okay, the terminal is reset. The orb is back. Okay, that's perfect. Now we're gonna get to the checkpoint. Our position is now saved. And the collectible is also saved. So now if we die, okay, we restart in the wrong position. So that's a problem. Why is it happening? Excuse me. Reset memory. Read from this disk, we reset memory. So that should apply our data. Oh no, wait, it wouldn't. Because then we reset the memory and then we need to copy this. which is not possible because that's safe data, but I'm pretty sure we can clone it, maybe. No, because it's dynamic reflect, yeah, but we can implement it manually, right? Knowing what we know. You could memory swap it, I think, but we need to keep it. We need to keep it for future reference. But that is right. We could do that. Technically speaking. Self resources, gonna map it. Maybe, maybe not. Why is it unknown? Can we not, does it have to be an iterator? Clone value. And then we're gonna collect it to whatever it needs to be, I guess. I mean, swap the current value with the new value. Initially store the new value in a temporary variable. I'm not sure which part you're referring to, because I thought you were talking about this place here. Because here we need to do a copy, because I need the same value both here and here, because the memory safe is going to be modified later, but then it may need to be reset again. So we need this for reference. We cannot take it out of this, if that's what you're referring. Unless you're talking about the vector, then I'm not sure. Okay, now we can clone it, right? And that should work. I'm gonna, before it compiles, I'm gonna get rid of all of this. Make sure we're starting fresh from empty save file. Okay, once again, change the terminal, collect the orb, die, everything is reset. We start in the correct position. We go to the checkpoint. The checkpoint is saved. We die. Okay, well, that's a bummer. So just to make sure, player is AD. Okay, so it is changed to something else. I mean, I know what it's changed to. It's changed to this position, right? Read from disk, reset memory, load from memory. Do we need to reset the memory? Why would we reset the memory? That doesn't make sense. The whole concept of reading from disk is that so that we have the updated state in the memory. And then load memory does a little load world. Okay, and I feel like what we need to do here is first we need to do this. Okay, we're gonna try to make it work first, and then we're gonna make it better. This is not ideal that we need to like apply it once and then second time and then third time. But it does make sense, right? We need to reset all of the values. So that's the problem. We need to account for the fact that migration is gonna happen. So the save file may not contain all of the data. That's why we first need to load the default data, and then we need to overwrite whatever is in the save file. But maybe we can make it into one function, because there's probably some optimization that we can do with it. I also don't know how heavy it is to insert a resource from reflection. Hopefully not too heavy. Okay, let's toggle the terminal, collect the collectible, go to the checkpoint, and now die. Oh, I forgot to change the parameter. We don't want to reset the memory. Is there anything else that shouldn't reset a memory? Okay, toggle the terminal, collect the collectible, go to the checkpoint, die. Perfect. Collectible is collected, terminal is toggled, the world is saved, then I reset, the terminal is no longer toggled. Collectible is here, no save point, I get reset. Okay, that's awesome. Let's go to the other places, see how good it works. So there's another checkpoint in here. If I die, okay, I come back in here. It's perfect. There is another checkpoint somewhere in here, I think. Let's make sure. Yeah. So now if I die, come back in here. I open the door. The door can no longer be closed. I go to die in here. I go back to the previous checkpoint. The door is closed again. Everything is correct. This is like the best example of it, because there's a lot of things that we can do. We can toggle the tunnel and then collect the collectible. And there is no checkpoint here. So if I now come back here and die, we're back in the checkpoint and state is reset correctly. Okay, that is awesome. So now if I close the game, restart it, it does not load correctly. Okay. But here's the thing, because there is no checkpoint in here, if I die, I should come back to, yeah, the previous state of the game. So there's something wrong with loading. Because we are up there in the save file. So what is wrong with you? Yeah, it feels like it should work. We do reload scene, read from disk, load from memory. Oh, I know what the problem is. The problem is not with initialization. The problem is with hot reload. Let's test this hypothesis. Because hot reload currently happens immediately after starting the game as well. Because the collectible detects like, oh, the scene has changed. despite the fact that it didn't change, it just got loaded for the first time. Yeah, if we just do this, we end up right here, as we should. So let's try to progress, see if it's gonna be saved. The next checkpoint is here on the left. Now if I die, I'm gonna respawn in here. And now if we restart the game without hot reload, we end up here with the thing collected. Actually perfect. We just need to handle hot reload, which then again, that's only a development time thingy, so it doesn't even have to work, you know, too properly. Checkpoint manipulation as part of speedrun strats, maybe. maybe. That's not up to me, that's up to the community. One of my patrons actually sent me a video a moment ago because they found one secret in the playtest and then they tried to get to this point and they somehow cheated their way up here, but there's nothing, there is no secret in here, sadly. There's another secret somewhere else. But I guess I need to start putting secrets in places that are physically impossible to reach because people are gonna reach them anyway. Okay, it's been an hour, so I'm gonna take a little break. 6 minutes, I'm gonna be back. We're gonna fix the hot reload and have a great time, hopefully. So see you in 6 minutes. Welcome back. What were we doing? We're working on the hot reload. So let's bring it back, restart the game, see what's gonna happen if we do that at runtime. So we're gonna modify Blender after the game loads and see how that behaves. If I go here, for example, maybe let's reset the game just to make sure. We have a fresh, clean slate. Okay, and now let's save this. Okay, so the position definitely gets reset. What about the orbs and stuff like that? Yeah, everything is reset. So the answer is probably somewhere here. We save to memory. That's good. That's what we want to do. Then we reset memory. That's not something that we want to do. I think just removing this is gonna fix everything. We save to memory to persist the state. We reload the scene. That's gonna automatically update the scene state, and then we load from memory, which will nicely, where is it? Nicely apply the scene state after the hot reload. So the player's position will still be reset back to where the last checkpoint was. We're gonna need to work on that later, but that's not a bug. That's just a missing feature that we need to implement. Okay, so let's modify the world a little bit. Go to the next checkpoint. Okay, so now we're here. If we die, this is the current state of the game. And now I'm gonna refresh Blender. Yeah, the state persists. The player is reset to the last checkpoint, and hopefully any changes. What is this? Ooh, that's some experiments. Excuse me, had to sneeze. This works. So the last thing that we may want is to persist the position of the player. That would be fun if we didn't get reset. Yeah, but now we should be able to just, like, I don't know, move this in here, save this, reset, and now we're here, and the game is reset. So that's probably not what we want. Since now the state persists, we probably don't want that to happen. We probably want to use the save system now. Okay. So this is where the player's position is being stored. And the way it's stored is that a checkpoint updates this resource. Also, there's a this is not how you spell checkpoint, I think. Checkpoint. Yeah, here it is. It updates the position. So maybe we could make it so that we pass the position into this little system param, and the system param handles it for us. This could be easy and fun and nice, I think. Oh wait, but no, that's a problem. The system param is in a different crate, so it cannot access the player store. Let's try to just implement it in here, see how it's gonna go. Can I not modify it? What's up with that? No code actions available. What do you mean? Oh, this is also outside of player. Okay. It's also a different crate. I'm afraid we need to make it globally available. But also, hot reload will perform a save to memory, so it feels like we should be able to implement it somehow in here. Because it would be really easy to just save the position of the player always, but that's the problem, because we have this weird conditional variable, which is that we only want to store the player's position if we are not in the checkpoint, because the checkpoint wants to set a custom position. So I guess we just need to somehow convey that information to the player. Like, hey, you are inside of a checkpoint. Right? I feel like that would be the easiest solution. Let's try going this way. Player, controller, user could have a little checkpoint with the entity, and then checkpoint could query the player controller in a mutable way. Let OK player is equal to player get single mutable, get single mutable, else I'm just gonna clear the events and return. We don't need to update this if there is no player. And now instead of modifying the store.position, we're just gonna do store, not store, player dot checkpoint is equal to sum. And then we just want the entity. Now, the only problem is that this is collision started. And we probably need to remove it when we leave the checkpoint. Oh, I hate doing it this way. I don't think we should do it this way. I think we should do it the way pressure plate is doing it. Which is just looking for intersection pairs with something. Because this whole like, oh, collision start, collision end business is not really reliable in my opinion. So a checkpoint already probably has some nice collision filtering, maybe not. It has an area trigger, and this area trigger collides with both entities and players. Okay. We could move that to the player, this whole system. I guess let's keep it here for now, but we can write it from the perspective of the player, right? So we're just gonna do first of all context, rapier context. I'm gonna do intersection pairs with, and as the entity we're gonna use the player's entity. We don't need that loop. We're not doing a status. We're doing a little find, I think. Is there like a find map? There is. Okay, so now we just need to figure out which collider is the checkpoint, if any. I'm thinking about how to write this. There's so many ways of writing this in Rust. I guess the easiest way would be to just do if query contains collider A, it's gonna be some collider A, else if collider B, that's gonna be some collider B, and then else it's gonna be none. And then before that, if we're not intersecting, that's also gonna be none. So it's gonna be player dot checkpoint. It's collider B. We also need to trigger the checkpoint. So I guess let's do this. Now if previous is none, and then player dot checkpoint is some, it's gonna trigger a new checkpoint. Just for now. See if this amounts for anything. Now we can go to the player, which is also sort of growing out of proportions. We can probably split it eventually. Gonna make a safe system. We don't need commands, we just need mutable store with the player store, and then a query with the player. Transform, and then player controller. We don't need the filter because player controller is only one. Let's get single. Now we can save it, hopefully. What is your issue? Not player state, player store. Is the Visual Studio Code setting or a plugin to wrap the tabs in the code window? It is a setting. I can tell you exactly. Yeah, it's called wrap tabs. Thanks, no worries. Query, no, not query, store dot position. Gonna match over the checkpoint. I guess we can actually calculate the position here immediately. Maybe. Let's see. How difficult would that be? To just get the global transform. So then instead of contains, we're gonna do get. It's gonna be else. Get this or else. And get collider B. So that's gonna give us yeah, a result. So we don't want a result. Let's turn this into an option, and then we're gonna map it like this. It's gonna give us a vector 3, hopefully, maybe. Yeah, and now we just need to change this into a vector 3. So let's change this like that. Now we can just do checkpoint, control the checkpoint, or else transform dot translation. And that should be it, maybe. Unwrap or. Okay, now we just need to register that. Little system. Save game. So if we are inside the checkpoint now, we're gonna use the checkpoint's position, but if we are not inside the checkpoint, we're just gonna use the player's position. Let's see if this makes sense. Okay, something failed. Also, Kovina's Grave, thank you for the sub. I somehow missed it. An hour late, but thank you so much. Checkpoint, gameplay checkpoint, checkpoint, no registration found. Okay, because we changed. What did we change? Oh yeah, I probably got my monthly Prime sub back. I don't know what it means. You mean like you get a new one? Because you get a new one every month? Is that how it works? What happened with Checkpoint and why isn't it working anymore? No registration found. Yeah, Twitch gives you one free once a month if you have Amazon Prime. I see. Okay, so this is a problem with loading the playtest. Let's see. What is up with the playtest? Gameplay checkpoint. Oh, because okay, so they changed the name of the file. See, eventually we're gonna need to give them all like a separate name, right? So something like type path. We could use some nice type path like AST. And then type name. It's gonna be checkpoint. So we don't need to worry about refactoring our code. And just, you know, specify this for any serializable thing that we're using in Blender. Anyway, we just need to destroy all of this and recreate it. I do wonder if there's a way to catch this. Clearly there has to be. What happened to the artificial channel? What do you mean? Why are you scaring me like that? What happened to it? Was I hacked? No, the channel is up. What do you mean? Maybe on my end, but I can't find it. Okay, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe you're just, you know, spelling it wrong or something. It is a bit awkward to spell. It should be still up though. Hold on, I'm gonna check from incognito mode just to make sure. Yeah, no, I can find it. How you implement level change, removing level entities? Bevy has no scene support yet. It does, but the scene support in Bevy is kind of interesting because they merge the scene when you reload it. What I do right here, no, actually now it's in the save system because I moved it. I'm gonna show you. Hold on. I use the entity map that the dynamic scene generates, because when you call, this is from Bevy, right? This is write to world from the dynamic scene. It asks you for the entity map and it fills it in with the entity IDs. So I store it, and then whenever I need to reload it, I just despawn them recursively. So I destroy everything and recreate it anew whenever I change anything. But yeah, this was a huge pain, what you're talking about, like removing entities. Because it would constantly crash when you remove an entity, because the scene hierarchy would get malformed. But this works very, very well. And then I also have a little owner collection component. So whenever I spawn something based on the entities from the scene, I add this component, and then I also remove them. Because there are certain things where I need to spawn something. What was I doing? Hold on. Checkpoint. Yeah, we're testing this. So now, if I die here, I respawn on the checkpoint, right? Let's try to jump into it just to make sure. Yeah, we respawn in the checkpoint's position, not in the player's position. Now if I go here and issue a change. Yeah, I remain in the same place. That is awesome. What about manual saving? Hold on, let's see. So I go here, I do 1, that saves the game. And let's go here, change something, reload the game. Awesome, that is great. Yeah, let's clean this up, and then we can do some refactoring, I guess, unused imports. Let's see, what have we changed in here? So that's just saving. Okay, let's hot reload. It's our new system. Oh, I even do this. Here, the memory, I guess it's not replaced, but it's take. Okay, does this module from scene clone? Okay, we're gonna need to work on this because there's probably a lot of simplification that we can do now that we know what we want to do. Saving the position, resetting, dev checkpoint, load last checkpoint, all of this works just fine. Here's our rename. Okay. So we can even go to, no, not to the tool chain. We can go to the to-do, get rid of this. Okay, what I'd like to check, reprocess scenes on deserialization failure. Would that be possible? I do not know. Here's the problem. This is how the system looks right now. Really simple. We look for the loaded with dependencies event. Question is there an event that will tell us like, oh, something went wrong? I don't think there is. Hi mate, oh, it's not Unity anymore, cool. Yeah, I'm using Bevy. If you want, you can look up my video. A little reset is the name. I talk about it over there. Added, modified, removed, unused, loaded with dependencies. So this is probably not gonna tell us much, but there are other events from like the asset processing pipeline that maybe will tell us some more info. Let's see, asset processor, load and save, you implement, yeah, process error. What do we have here? Let's try to trigger this error. It's gonna be easier to find it, where it originates from. Where are the imported assets? Right here. Let's go to the playtest and let's destroy something. Let's just misspell this. This should cause a failure in Deserialization, which sometimes happens when we do refactoring. And then I need to go here manually and like remove the files, which is annoying. So the idea would be to automatically rerun this process whenever this happens. Fails to load asset playtest blend with asset loader Bevy scene. Oh, I know this error. It's exactly what we've been looking at. That's gonna be not asset load. It's called like asset loader, if I remember correctly. Asset load error. Yeah, asset loader error. Yeah, and that's exactly this. Fail to load asset with asset loader. This is exactly what we're getting. Okay, so this is triggered by the asset server. And then this asset load error is wrapped in the process error right here as asset load error. Question is this sent somewhere else where we can like actually listen to it? See, I'm gonna look for references. The Rust analyzer would be so nice to show them. Oh, okay. So these are some traits, some places where this error is returned. Same goes for this. Oh, there is some, hold on, there's some match statement over this. Match result. Okay, so asset load error is translated into asset load error in the asset load error. There's an internal asset event. That's awesome. Love to see that. So we cannot probably access it. Yeah, because it's a crate thing. Clearly, the best solution would be to write a custom loader instead of using the Bevy's scene loader. I guess that's on the table. We could write a custom loader that would do the exact same thing, except it wouldn't just throw an error when something bad happens. It would like notify us about it somehow. Yeah, it doesn't seem like there is a way to access this this event. Let's try though. There's an asset source event. There's asset load failed event. I'm confused. If it returns an error, can you not just use it? Or is it caught by Bevy before it gets to you? Yes, is the form. It's the latter. Because the whole asset server is doing its own thing somewhere in the background. And all we get is this asset event, but it only tells us like, oh, it's been loaded, it's unused, removed, modified, added. But this is interesting. Asset load error. Ooh. Asset loader. Oh, that's perfect. That's exactly what we need. Okay, never mind. We have access to that. Still error reader. Crazy if true. Okay, and then the generic is gonna be dynamic scene. Let's not celebrate yet though, because we still need a way to force reprocessing of the asset, which may not be as easy. Can I not match this? What's up? Oh, it's abstract. We want the error. And also if event.id is equal to collection handle.id. It's the only asset that we care about. Okay, maybe let's not match immediately. Maybe let's do all debug. No, stop it. Can I do that? Can I pass a reference to debug? Okay, we got something. You cannot see all of it. I guess you can. I guess you can see a little bit. Run spanned error. No registration found. Yeah, okay, that's awesome. So if let asset loader error asset load error. Wait for the what is this type? Hold on. What are you? Asset load error. Yeah, okay. So that's gonna be asset loader error is equal to event dot error. Okay. We probably don't need any of this. Just want to see if this matches. Okay, now what? We need to find a way to invalidate an asset somehow. Let's see, maybe asset server can do something about it. Path asset loader. Get source, new with loader, new with meta check, new. No, that's not useful. Load untyped, load internal. That's the internal, that's reload. Kicks off a reload of the asset stored at the given path. This will only reload the asset if it's currently loaded. That may be it. The solution to all of our problems. What is asset server? That's a resource. Asset path from option. Okay. What do you mean? Why is it an option? Oh, because it can be weak. Okay. I think this one is gonna be strong because we created in here, right? Are there things in the 0.14 release you look forward to? No, because I don't know what's coming. I've yet to read through the changelog and see what they actually have been working on. Somebody told me during the last live stream a few things. I'm trying to remember. No, I don't remember. But I will need to eventually get into it. Because the release is coming, right? It's really not that far away. It's a bunch of stuff, even I don't know all of it. Oh, okay. So we trigger the reload forever. That's cool. Oh, I know what the problem is. It doesn't know that the asset processor exists, right? So it only reloads from the imported assets. It may have no way of triggering the reload of the processor itself. The GitHub milestone thingy for Bevy 0.14 has 2 issues out of 300 left to do. Oh, that's awesome. I'm assuming that one of these issues is writing the blog post, right? For the release. Let me see. out of curiosity. I can't seem to find it. The tracking issue for the changelog. The release candidate is out like exactly right now. That's awesome. Maybe we're gonna do a migration on Sunday. Okay, asset server reload is not working. Let's look some deeper into the asset plugin, I guess. I don't know if we can even access it from... there has to be a way. Maybe we could like make the watcher realize that there's a change or something like that. I mean, worst case scenario, we can just like remove the file using you know, IO in Rust. But it would be nice to do it properly. File watcher. Do you have any methods? No, not really. Asset watcher, file watcher. Nothing interesting here. What about the process reader? Read meta is directory. If it's doing file watching, could you just touch the file to update it? Yeah, like that's what I mean, right? We could either delete this file and this would prompt it to regenerate it, or we could modify this file. Although I don't think just touching it would work because it generates a hash of the content, right? Here's what it does. Here's the Blender file, and then here's the meta. Ooh, wait. I'd swear there is a hash stored somewhere. Maybe it's in the output. Oh yeah, there's a hash of the original file. So if the hash doesn't change, it doesn't do anything. That's definitely on the table. I'm just, you know, I kind of like doing things sort of, I don't know how to describe that. Idiomatically, I guess. Because the worst part is that there is no way for me to know the path. I could hard code the path to this. But from my experience developing the Blender processor, there is no easy way to get that imported assets default configuration path. Wait, what was I looking at? Oh, the reader, asset reader. Yeah, asset reader doesn't contain anything interesting. Asset source builder. Build, what do you return? Asset source. Maybe asset source itself has something. Reader writer, process reader, process writer, event receiver. Gate on processor. What if we could send an event? No, I don't think that's possible. Asset source event. See, if we could do asset source event and then send modified asset. But that's a receiver. Who has the sender? Maybe if we can find the sender, we can make it send it. Processed watcher as mutable and then call the processed watcher. What are you? An option with a function that generates the watcher. That's what receives the sender. With processed watcher, new watcher, okay. Get default watcher. Okay, we're back here and then okay, we return a function. Okay, and here's the sender. And then the sender goes to the file watcher. Okay, here it is. And it gives us nothing to access it. Clearly, we need to implement a custom file watcher. That's the only solution here. No, I'm joking, but it seems like there is no way to do that. At least not right now. So we're just gonna delete the file, I guess. But we're gonna do this after the break, because it's been 2 hours, so I'm gonna see you in 6 minutes. welcome back. Welcome back to this live stream. Is what I'm trying to say. So let me check again if we can maybe access this. I don't think we can. I feel like I tried this a lot, quite many times. Yeah, because this is only passed to the initialize default source, and then here, and then to like the reader, writer, and watcher. File reader, yeah, and the root path is private. Ooh, I don't know. Hold on a second. It is possible to get it. Whatever. Let's just hard code it for now. See what the path's gonna be. It's playtest.blend, okay. Can I join immediately? No. I'm gonna new. I'm gonna need some more information about that. So the question is, what is this gonna be resolved to relative to? This is just gonna be the crate. Join this with path dot path, I guess. Okay, can I make you absolute? No. How will write file does this? Or even just file, if I open a new file now. Actually, we don't need to open a new file, we just need to remove a file, which I have no idea how to do in Rust. Okay, that's easy. Depending on the platform, other open file descriptors may prevent immediate removal. Okay. Let's see. It's gonna actually remove something. Okay, did it remove it? No. I don't think, does it resolve the path, or is it just passing the path to the command of the operating system? Okay, I guess here's what we could do, right? What's the environment for this? Here it is. Okay. Just gonna steal this. Only high-level programming on this channel, by the way. I'll spend the next 15 minutes trying to remove a file. Projects, Rust, Astortion, shared. Oh, that's a crate. Okay. Then we go up. Okay. Imported assets, default playtest blend. Okay, that would be it. Let's see. If it doesn't do anything, it should throw an error. It did it. It removed the file. Okay, and now if we restart the game, it's gonna reload the file. Okay, so now all we need is just if this is okay, we're gonna do asset server reload. Let's call it full path. Here we're just gonna reload the path. Okay, let's try to fake an error. Now we should get an error here, and then the file gets deleted, this gets recreated, this is fixed, and the thingy okay, it did not work. Oh, it is path not found. So it doesn't even ask the watcher to do anything about it. Well, that is kind of sad. Because it means that I don't think there's a way to do that, like at all. I guess without implementing it in Bevy itself. Let me go back to the watcher for just a second. Default source, platform default, watcher, default watcher. So it does this, right? New asset event debouncer. What is this? Short function. This is notify debouncer, okay. So notify is a crate, I'm assuming, used for watching for file system changes, right? I would guess. the bouncer watcher watch, and then we return the debouncer that we don't have access to anyway. I wonder if we can fake these events, excuse me, somehow. Timeout the create event handler. Yo, hello. Happy Thursday to you specifically. Happy Friday. Okay, close enough. Happy Friday to you too. The bouncer. Yeah, no, I feel like we need to give up. I don't think there's a reasonable way of handling that. One day though, one day for sure. It's 24 past midnight for me, so Friday it is. I mean, I guess. But is it really Friday if you haven't gone to sleep today yet? I would argue that it's not. Yes, I don't sleep. Sleep is for the weak, like they say. Yeah, okay, the checkpoint works. Everything works just fine. I feel like we can move on. Let's bring it back in here. I cannot really do that. It's trying to see if the terminal would remain. Okay, all of this is not necessary. What about, see, I'm still thinking about this. What about the custom loader idea? Because currently we're using the default scene loader, which is not really that complex. It's literally this file. And then it does this. And then it does this question mark. And this question mark is what triggers the error. So we could handle this error in here if this was our loader. But then what? No, I don't think there's a way to invalidate an asset. What do we have on our to-do list then? Shared springs for view transitions. Actually, we've done this already. Use reflection for bundles. I also did this. Used to keep updating this to do. Compile time hex macro, velocine helper functions for the alpha layer. Refactor the save system. Okay. We can do the velocine helper function for alpha layer actually. It's a lot of places where I need to do it manually. It's becoming really repetitive. Implement velocine, okay. Actually there should be, yeah, clip layer. I'll duplicate this. I'm gonna call it alpha clip layer. And we're just gonna take some alpha parameter in here. Pass it as this, and then we need to change the blend mode. Let me see, because I never remember. Oh yeah, we need to use this. Because the default one works well for just clipping, but when we change alpha, it can result in a lot of weird glitches and stuff like that. Guess we can even, well, what's that caps lock doing? If alpha is less than 1. Otherwise we can use the default blend mode. Okay, now we can replace all of these. It's gonna be the transform shape and then alpha. Okay. See, transform shape alpha. Oh. Hopefully it's not gonna break everything. It should be the same logic though. Exactly the same. Okay, let's try building this. I'm gonna steer my T, as always. Okay, the main menu is looking okay. Yeah, all of the transitions and stuff like that seem to be working. Is that all the errors? I guess so. It's one little casual issue of the to-do list. Excuse me. Conservation of energy. I guess we can get into that. Though I don't have an idea of how to implement this just yet. Because it's probably gonna have to do with counting how long we've been falling, right? Because there is a maximum velocity that we can have when we're jumping off something, right? We're gonna jump down and then we're gonna accelerate for a while. And then at some point we're gonna hit the max velocity that we can have while falling. And then ideally, we would want to have some sort of arcadey type of implementation where it doesn't really matter the physics behind the velocity, but it makes it so that, oh, you jumped from this distance. This means that if you teleport yourself upwards, at this point, you're gonna reach the same vertical height. So I feel like for this we would need to measure, once we hit max speed, we would need to measure the time we fall with max speed and sort of accumulate this somewhere. And then dispense that when we leave from the teleportation state. I think other than the top speed, I think nothing prevents us from already being able to do that. Let's see. Let's get rid of these. And let's also get rid of this. This technically roughly kind of the same. Maybe let's put it mid-air so that we can not hit the ground. Okay, now if I could do this. Well, it's difficult to judge. Yeah, it's almost the same. There is a little bit of loss. It's really difficult to get it right at the same position. So it works for low distances like that because we don't have the time to accelerate to top velocity. Now if we make some more room in here, it's probably no longer gonna be the case. Okay. Let's see. Okay, that was just sad, but I don't know if I didn't hit the ground. No, yeah, there is just there's just no more velocity for us, which again makes sense, I guess. So let's try to change it. So in the physics, let's store top velocity. duration. Okay, and then actually let's enable hot reload because it's probably gonna take a while. To figure this out. It's gonna require some iteration. Definitely something that we need to worry about is like hitting obstacles and stuff, right? If we are being accelerated in like a fake way after escaping the teleportation, what if we hit a ceiling, right? We probably want to lose all of the momentum upon any sort of impact. Yeah, so that should be simple. We just need to get the current normal and see if we are moving towards that normal. So we're hitting a wall. And then we lose all of that accumulated velocity. Yeah, it should be actually pretty easy to do. A question is also what's gonna happen when we like escape in like a different direction, right? Should we be accelerated to the left? I think so. That would be fun. Oh, what's that? Okay, velocity is being clamped here according to the fall speed. Next velocity. I'm kind of worried. If we just calculate the length and check if it's bigger than fall speed. And then in else, we're gonna reset the timer. I'm afraid that we can randomly like enter this just because of floating point errors, but we'll see. The velocity duration, it's gonna be duration default. And here we're just gonna add the duration. Actually, I'm gonna use time dot delta. And this should be immutable. What if your source of truth for velocity is unclamped, but then the velocity you use for positioning is clamped? No, because we rely on... Wait, give me a second. Like if you fall down, but then you also have vertical velocity, and then you clamp it, that's gonna affect your both of your velocities for like the future frame. Because they're gonna have to be shorter. Like what I mean is like the faster you accelerate horizontally, the slower you're gonna fall. And then if then in the next frame, the gravity direction changes for some reason, because maybe you're inside one anchor, that's gonna affect it. I don't know, but it is an interesting idea. I guess it's gonna depend on how we handle anchors, because that's like the only problem. Let's just try for now, if it's even gonna, you know, cause an issue. Because then what I'm thinking of, right, is that normally you would have like a velocity downwards and to the left like this, but then the gravity is going to continue accelerating you, right? This velocity is going to grow and grow and grow and grow the longer you fall. So then clamping is going to rotate the resulting vector closer and closer to gravity, because it's going to have a much stronger influence as the time goes by. It's going to be next velocity. We can clamp the length. Maximum fall speed. Not the most optimal way to do that, because we already calculated the magnitude, but whatever. Okay, so let's also debug this maybe in here. Player dot top velocity duration. And then lost. Okay, so we do get some accumulation happening. I don't think we want to reset this now as I think of it. Yeah, because we also need to figure out if we're falling. That's kind of important. Okay, so if we have a direction, that's not physics, that's player. So now if falling now we can just do direction times fall speed here, I guess. So now if we're not falling and player.top velocity duration is 0. If it's not 0, now we can, you know, seal it. Release the accumulated velocity. Saturating sub. And we're still gonna apply the same, like maximum velocity, if that's the case. I feel like this is gonna be so broken. Okay, so now if we are falling and the speed is not enough, then we're gonna reset this. And then if we are falling and the duration is 0, we don't do anything. That's okay. Okay, so it's that's an interesting game mechanic. It gives us velocity horizontally. We get a little boost. Maybe that's what we need. It's kind of funny. It's like a little dash. We should have that. Now as I think of it, we should have like a little dodge. Completely unrelated to anything. But it's just fun in games when you can like run and then do a little zoom forward. Make it into like a typical parkour game. Well, hello there. Kind of destroyed the level here. Doesn't matter. Okay, this weird velocity aside, let's see if it's gonna have the desired effect. Okay, it does. So now what about shooting ourselves like forward like this? It does give us some boost, and we can probably maintain a lot of this boost if I were to press yeah. I don't know. Okay, so clearly we need to operate not on the entirety of the velocity, but just the y component. That's gonna be the safest option here. Okay, give me a second. How does Portal handle this? Is there just a higher max velocity when free falling? I think so. I don't know actually. I haven't seen the source code. Get it, source. I'm gonna have to look into it. I wonder if it's like available somewhere. Okay, but here's what we're gonna do. Simple crash. Okay, we still need to use the next velocity. symbol. Ooh, hold on. Maybe we're doing it wrong. Maybe we should just measure the time that we're adding the gravity, not worry about the velocity. Maybe we should do the exact same thing that you recommended, but the other way around. So have like another variable that's gonna accumulate the y velocity without touching it in any way, shape, or form. And then we're gonna use that information to accelerate, because we can differentiate it, right? We can do gravity is the speed. Yeah, so this would just be gravity fall speed something. We could calculate how much velocity we need to subtract from the accumulated one based on the fall speed, and then the rest could be given back to the player. You're just accumulating a single value or a vector. The velocity is a vector, y is also a vector, but we would accumulate a number. Right? We just like do something like this. Accumulated fall speed, because that's what it is, it's not velocity. And then we just wouldn't multiply it by the up vector, which we would just keep this. And then we would reset that. So we're not even dealing with time, we're just dealing with speed. And then whenever we hit something, we're gonna reset it and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm gonna think about this during the break. I'm gonna be back in 6 minutes. Accumulated fall speed. Welcome back, everybody. Where's the player? We need to add that little variable. I've been thinking how to float. That's not the correct language. Okay, gonna need to restart the game for that. Okay, so we should be able to do a lot of the computation in here instead of down here, and then we'll immediately apply it. Should be good. Let's steal this portion. Paste it in here. Okay, falling. Well, we can just do player.velocity. It doesn't matter because app is normalized, so it's gonna give us the same information. Even if it wasn't normalized, dot product would still be negative, I think. Okay, so if we are falling, we want to accumulate this. And we want to accumulate this always. And then if we are not falling, we somehow need to get this back. Hold on, this should be plus. This should be minus. If we greater than 0, we're gonna do this. Otherwise, we're just gonna set this to 0. And now here, we're just gonna add fall speed. Do we want to add fall speed? No. We're just gonna make it equal to fall speed. That should do something. Whoa, okay. I did not jump here. It's doing it on its own. Oh, okay, so now we need to do if player, wait, yeah, if player is on ground, we need to reset this to 0. We don't want any accumulated speed in that situation. It looks like Ocarina of Time on steroids. Isn't Ocarina of Time a 3D game? Or do you mean like the jumping looks similar? I've never played a single Nintendo game in my life, by the way. Just to put this on the record. Whoa, okay, that's way too much. It is doing something though. I wonder how far can this take us? Let's make the ceiling bigger. So that nothing stops us. Okay. So this is like twice. Then I guess it makes sense because we still did not account for the velocity it takes to accelerate to top velocity. We need to somehow subtract this. I guess what we need is this. If we are greater than fall speed. Yeah, that's probably the answer. Ooh, okay. Cool. Then we can come back. Now the question is, how can we exploit this? Okay, so the problem is that it accelerates us upwards always. But we want it to be accelerated, in this specific case, we want to be accelerated to the direction of this launch pad. If you place a teleporter on the ground, do you get the extra velocity and also a reset on the teleporter? No. No, because when you teleport, we set grounded to false. So I can no longer do this. Okay, so theory. Oh no, never mind, because the anchor is not gonna add the time. I was thinking that maybe okay, that's awful. How is it not counting it as falling? That's the question. I'm just being like... You could teleport into the ground at an angle, go further than you can jump horizontally, then place a teleporter in the air. Like this. But you wouldn't gain any horizontal speed, right? I mean, currently you would, because it's broken. But yeah, you can do that. But that's okay. I guess if there was no obstacle on the left, I think it should work this way. I don't think it's a bug. Because like technically you are on the ground when you do that. But also being on the ground will immediately slow you down to the walking speed. So I don't know how much of this momentum you would actually maintain. It's like Power Dash and Celeste. Hyper Dash, I mean. I don't know. I play Celeste casually. I don't know what exactly the strats do. Yeah, okay, so this happens when we pass the center of the anchor because it thinks that. Oh yeah, I mean it makes sense, right? If here's the anchor and then like we fall downwards, that's okay. But if we fall like this, at some point we're gonna, you know, be at an angle greater than 90 degrees, and that's gonna be considered not falling down but rather going upwards, and that's where we got the boost from. Okay, but that's because I don't think we should get the boost at all, right? I don't think the boost should happen naturally. It should be used by the teleporter and nothing else. Because there's not a single gameplay feature that like allows you to conserve momentum like this. I guess what you could do, but that's not even falling, so that's not gonna count. I guess you could like orbit an anchor for an extended period of time, accumulate the time, and then let go, and you would just fly upwards. But we don't want that, because that would break the game. If every anchor could do that. Yeah, so we should probably just not do that in the physics. Do the accumulation in the physics and the reset in the physics, but that accumulated speed is going to be used by the teleporter and nothing else. So if player is on ground, and also if let some normal is equal to player ground normal, normal dot physics dot velocity, no, not physics, keep forgetting it's a different name, physics dot velocity, player dot velocity, excuse me, if that's greater than 0, what is it? No, it's gonna be negative. If we are negative, that means that we're hitting a wall in some direction, so that should also reset the accumulation. Ooh, another idea. What if we could do that at the end of this update loop completely, not care about anything else? We just use effective velocity. And here, we're just gonna add player dot effective velocity dot y. So we're just gonna actually accumulate the y velocity, and this means that there's gonna be no weird things happening in the anchor, because as we orbit the anchor, we're not really changing the horizontal distance. So we can only accumulate speed as we get closer to it. And that will only be whatever this distance is. Yeah, we reset it here. We reset it here. In fact, we should always add this. Not even, yeah, this is perfect. This makes so much sense, at least in my head. It's probably not gonna make sense once we test it. But then, like, generally speaking, what we do now, let's assume that the gravity direction is constant. When the player like jumps off the ground and they do whatever path they do, we're gonna continuously add the velocity. So it means that at the end here, we're just gonna accumulate whatever this distance was. The path is not important. And then if they hit the ceiling, that's when we reset. Or if they land on the ground, that's where we reset this as well. So this is gonna work perfectly with all of the changing gravity, at least in my head again. Oh, okay, let's go to the teleport state then. See if we can figure this out. Ooh, teleport already has a timer. If physics accumulated fall speed is bigger than fall speed and teleport location. Ooh, why is it like that? That's kind of weird. Just gonna In case for some reason this is not set up, we're gonna go back to the free run state. But then here, this was interesting. If we have some accumulated speed that's more than just the fall speed, and velocity dot length is greater than fall speed as well, greater or equal. So this is where we're gonna use that accumulated fall speed. Physics frozen is gonna be fall speed times direction. We don't need this. Okay, let's check this out for now. Should be no weird business with us just falling. Okay, that did not work. Let's see if we're actually accumulating anything. Player physics. Accumulated fall speed, okay. Oh yeah, it's gonna be negative because we're falling down. Just gonna change this little symbol. Okay, now we're accumulating something. Let's see if we can use it. Okay. It's doable. Doesn't give us enough momentum back, but we can adjust for that. Am I going crazy? It did work just a second ago, right? Yeah, it works here. But not here. I guess it's because we need to fall fast enough. Oh, that's a unfortunate aiming. Yeah, if we don't reach the top speed, it's not gonna give us back the accumulated velocity. Okay, I think I know the issue. Let's calculate the exit speed. So now accumulated fall speed needs to be bigger than the exit speed, I think. I mean, it doesn't matter. Because if exit speed is less than fall speed, then it's still gonna fail this condition. Maybe we don't need this condition. What if we just do this? So it feels like we're getting a lot more velocity than we should have. So I'm assuming that the vertical velocity is adding on top of that. No. Maybe it just feels this way. Here we get nothing. But maybe because we're grounded for some reason. Yeah, it's probably because of that. If I place the portal higher, yeah, it works. The change is way too big, I feel like. From like teleporting immediately. Or maybe not, maybe I'm imagining it. Let's get this check back in here. If we are falling down, we want to accumulate this, otherwise we're gonna reset it as well. Or not accumulated, effective velocity. Okay, now it just doesn't work. Player physics. No, we do get some accumulated fall speed in here. Okay, it is a bit difficult to to check because selecting resets the portal. I guess, hold on, I can probably use my gamepad. Yeah. Let's try doing that. Okay, I see the problem, because we reset the accumulated fall speed. And the teleport is like continuously using it. So I guess it's if player frozen is none. Let's only update this in that specific situation. When we're overwriting velocity, we want to keep this intact. Okay, now we got it. That was way more than we should have. Yeah. Okay, what if we check against the fall speed in here? Yeah, there's way more speed than we should get from this. Where is it coming from? It's like way too much speed. Yeah. So it kind of works. The problem is that we get way too much speed. So this should probably be used instead of Y, because that's not gonna work if we change the direction of gravity. But I don't think that's the source of our issues. You know what I want to check out? What's going to happen if we reduce the fall speed to something tiny? I mean, maybe not tiny, but something like 120. It's going to be really, really slow. Some prevents us from running. Wait, actually, I wanted to leave it here. See, okay, with smaller speeds, it does work. Interesting. Just that here we get a lot more, much bigger boost. Ooh, maybe we actually care about the gravity and not the fall speed. It's probably a way to like mathematically write it down. No, it does not help. Despite the fact that gravity is much bigger than fall speed. I'm just guessing at this point. Yeah, it is better, but is it correct? Makes much more sense this way. I get snubbed to the ground in here. But that's fixable. We should probably not snub to the ground if the velocity direction is going away from the normal. Yeah, that's an easy fix. Hold on. Let's Let's do that before I forget. If less than or equal yeah, that's no longer a problem. And snapping still works. Ooh, maybe it doesn't. Like here. Max walking angle, no. Max sliding angle. Should be better. Yeah. No, it still doesn't. Well, I don't like that. Well, I need to find a better way to fix that, I guess. So I feel like there should be some upper limit to the amount of velocity we can get like this. So right now we can just gain this velocity continuously. Can I reach the ceiling? Probably. Well, maybe not. With my skill level. Ah, so close. Okay, that counted. I scratched it. Okay, I do have some velocity-based puzzles in the second playtest. So I guess I'm gonna see how it works over there. See if I can make it feel correct. I mean, I guess it almost is. It's almost as good. We just need some corrections here and there. Yeah, okay. It's gonna be it for this live stream, I suppose. We've done some things, managed to do some of them. Save system is ready, so there's that. That was like the last major point on the to-do list for the next playtest. Okay, so thank you everybody for tuning in. Have a great rest of the day, and I see you on Sunday, hopefully.